Hi, I'm Sam Thurgood and welcome to my 2-minute Parsha. In this week's Hijra of Shemot, we read about the precipitating incident that gives Moshe Rabbeinu, our teacher Moses, his name, his mother placing him in this basket in the river Nile and hoping that an Egyptian woman will rescue and adopt him, which is indeed what happens with none other than Pharaoh's daughter. And the Torah tells us that she sees him and realizes that he is a Jewish child. What is it that gave him away as a Jewish child? On a simple level, who else would be desperate enough to place their baby in a basket and hope that someone somewhere would have compassion? Only the Jews were in that situation, that all their children were under threat of death. A second explanation is given by the sages, which is to say that she saw that he had a brit milah, that he had the bris, and the circumcision identified him as a Jew. However, there's a third explanation given by the Gemara as well, and that is that it was from the way in which he cried that he was identified as a Jew. She saw a boy crying and she said it's a Jew. From his cry, she knew that there was something about him that was Jewish. Rabbi Yehuda says that his cry was like an adult cry, a na'ar, a young man already, not just a little baby. What does that mean exactly? So some understood him to mean that he had this very deep adult voice, which would be somewhat peculiar. But the Piazetzner Rebbe, one of the great Rebbes of the Warsaw Ghetto, says, no, what it means is that we know all too well, he says, being in the Warsaw Ghetto, that children under this threat of death and persecution have to be raised to cry silently. From the earliest moment they are told, cry quietly, cry silently, you are not allowed to make a noise. She saw that Moshe was crying. She did not hear Moshe crying. She saw that he was making all of the facial expressions of a crying baby, and yet there was not a whisper, because little Moshe was taught from the earliest age, do not cry loudly or the Egyptians will find you. And Rabbi Hanan Porat tells of a story after liberation of the Holocaust, that a little girl turns to her mother and says, Mommy, now can we cry? It's a heartbreaking and powerful story and paints the tragedy of the Jewish people in Egypt in very stark terms, but we need to appreciate what it means as well, that we have the privilege to cry. Shabbat Shalom.